Hello and welcome to What Now with Anna and Eric. I am Anna.
I'm Eric.
Eric, can you give me your 3-word summary for this episode?
Of course I can.
All right, hit me.
Here it is. It's actually 2 of the words are the same word. God is God.
Actually, yeah, no, that's cool.
God is God. That's my 3-word summary for actually the finishing of Job and the start of Exodus.
Nice,
That's
nice.
what I'm hitting. What do you got?
Nice. Mine is God is powerful. So.
Wow. There you go.
You said that like it wasn't good. Wow.
It was
so nice.
That was my Toy Story aliens. The claw.
Oh my gosh.
Nothing? No.
I do know what you're talking
There you
about.
go.
I got that
figured you
movie
would.
reference. I was very impressed with myself. So welcome to, this is week 5.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, we've been reading the Bible for 5 weeks.
Man.
Right?
Time
no,
to
4
take
weeks?
a break.
4 weeks, week 5. No, it should be 5 weeks. I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is the same person who
It's
thought
5
42 weeks were in a year.
Yeah.
So
No,
48.
48, yeah.
48 weeks
Which
were in
was
a
so
year.
funny because the student later came up to me and they're
Yeah.
like, you know there's not 48 weeks in a year. And I was like, I know, I realized it as soon as I said it. But then I was like, it's too late.
Anna doesn't count her vacation time.
That's true.
That's what-
In my year. I
There's
just like
only-
chop it
yep,
out.
those-
Only count the work weeks.
Yep, only count the weeks you put in work.
Exactly. So our catch-up tip for this week, if you're feeling like you are behind, is really just encouragement. You are 5 weeks in. You have stuck in here for so long. You can do it.
Or if you miss a chapter, a lot of the chapters have bold print at the top. Just read that. It gives you a quick
Just
little
read
cliff notes of what's going to happen.
Read the summary. The summary at the top.
Oh, Moses bush.
Oh,
Got it.
boop,
Boop. Next one.
Nailed it. We nailed it. All right, so we are excited to do this episode with you. Just some fairly normal people talking about the Bible. So get ready for something
Strap
awesome
in your seatbelts.
and God-centric.
Whoa.
Yeah, no, I felt that.
Spiritual growth is a puzzle, and I'm a little bit muddled. What does discipleship even mean? What now? What now?
Long hold.
Woohoo!
We should have Daniel come in and do a live.
Oh, that would be so
Version.
cool. That would be very
I wonder
cool.
what he's doing next week.
should
Maybe I could have it like he'd be like the Roots, and I could be like Jimmy Fallon. He could just be over there and be the band.
Like the band in the background.
that would be
and then
great.
he could make like sound effects.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Every one of my amazing jokes, he'd be like, "Ba-dum, tsh."
Yeah, you do have a lot of those.
I know.
There would be a lot of percussion throughout the episode. All right,
it going.
so we are going to start out. Okay, so we did Job, and then we did Exodus. So we're going to split in half. So first we're going to do our Job Bible recap.
Yes.
And then we're going to talk about Job, and then we're going to talk about
Yes,
Exodus.
new book. We're moving on.
We're moving a new book.
Checking
This
them
is
off
so
the list.
fast.
Just check it. Oh,
It's like every other week is a new book. Yeah. What is it? What are we gonna do on those weeks where there's like 3 books in a row that are all 4 chapters?
You know what?
There's gonna be so much content.
Yes. Get
man.
excited. It's gonna be
Or
great.
what is it? Is it Jude? That's 1 chapter. It's just be Bible recap for Jude. 1 line.
Yep. It works out. Hey,
Yeah,
you know
it'll
what?
be good.
Makes our job a lot easier.
That's true. Okay, so Job 35 to 42. Here's our Bible recap.
Boom. Elihu.
Elihu's in here, the first 3. Does your righteousness mean anything? Good things happen to good people. God is powerful. Look at that. My summary is in
So you
my
stole
recap.
it. So
Yep,
you stole
right
it
from the Bible.
Elihu.
Right from
Awesome.
Elihu.
That's great.
All the unanswered questions. Animals, can you save yourself? Animals continued. God blesses. That's my summary.
Wow. There you go.
What was it? Did
at
you
that.
have anything to add to that?
That's great.
There were a lot of animal references in the last part of Job.
I don't
was
know.
like, wow.
I think the only thing I have to add is I think Elihu is my favorite person in
He's
this
pretty
story.
great.
Like I
He's
think
pretty
he is,
great. Okay, so on that note then, there's this part in Job I just put down some hilarious things, like where he was like, I will answer you and all your friends too. And I put, he's like basically saying he's not friends with any of them. He's just hanging out. And
you would think like the way he spoke, like he's been sitting there the whole time.
Yes.
He's just like, I don't know. I got
like
invited
he's just
to this
stayed
party.
quiet, then was hanging out.
These guys are my ride. I can't leave, so I'm just here.
Yeah.
And then you know what? I gotta say something. This is getting out of hand.
And then my favorite part is in the last chapter of Job. He says some stuff to Job, and then he says, after the Lord finished speaking to Job, he said to Eliphaz the Temanite, I am angry with you and your 2 friends, for you have not spoken accurately about me as my servant Job has. And I was just like, Elihu wasn't even mentioned.
But that's what I said. Like, so
he didn't even get brought up in the final
once
summary.
again, so here we go. Put yourself in the scene.
Yes.
And so they show up and spend 7 days just sitting there staring at each other.
Yeah.
So is Elihu like, dude, this is the worst party ever. Like, what are we doing here?
Like, did he just pop in?
Like, should we help this guy?
And then he said something, and then
they argue back and forth.
Yeah.
Elihu's still sitting here. Finally, he's like, listen, I know I'm the youngest one here, and I probably shouldn't speak up, but I got to say something. Then he says something. Then it culminates with God speaking.
Yeah.
And Elihu's like, well.
Yeah.
Like,
he doesn't say anything. God doesn't say anything about him.
No.
Like, he's just not mentioned.
Or maybe he's in the back like, I told you so. Like, I told you he was God. Like this, he was a big deal.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know.
Elihu was my favorite character in the Job. Well, you would think it would be Job, but no, I just really enjoyed.
No.
I enjoyed Elihu.
He's sitting back there on his Switch, just minding his own business, just playing video games. Like, hey, you know what? I can't take this anymore.
Pretty much.
Oh, yeah. So that's.
So I did put as one of my. Wow, my notes are so confusing to me.
Oh.
I think I put them out of order by accident.
Whose notes are you using?
I totally stole these from somebody.
You stole your 3-word.
My 3-word summary from the
right
Bible. I cheated this week.
What I love is your 3-word summary for this week surprised you that it was in your notes.
That's very true.
That's
it's
weird.
Like, look, it's right there.
So I'm wondering who wrote your notes.
So one of my, it wasn't a WoW verse, it was a rando one. That's what it was. I felt like this was God's answer. So we had talked about like God's answer at the end of Job, like waiting for God to answer. What does God say? And I felt like it was pretty well summarized in these verses. So it says, do you still want to argue with the Almighty? You are God's critic, but do you have the answers? Job responds to the Lord. And then Job replied to the Lord, I am nothing. How could I ever find the answers? I will cover my mouth with my hand. And so I felt like in this, and then later God also says, will you discredit my justice and condemn me just to prove you are right? And I just thought, whoa, like I put, boom was my, in parentheses, boom, like God's laying down the law. But I just thought it was so intense when I think about what we do, where we discredit God's justice because we think that we're right. And then God comes around and he's like, okay, you're discrediting my justice, you're questioning, but do you really have all the answers? And, you know, in the animal chapters, I just keep talking about animals for a really long time, but he does have a lot of the unanswered questions in there. Like he starts asking Job about like, do you know the depths of the sea? Do you know what's down there? Do you know how far it goes? Do you know how the weather works? Do you know how the animals work? And I even thought about the fact that even now, I mean, we've progressed quite far in science, and we still don't know the answer to all the questions that God is asking. And so God is basically saying, okay, you are coming at me. You're discrediting my justice, trying to prove you are right, but you don't understand the laws of the universe.
Well, and that's so funny story, because a few weeks ago, it must have been a month ago now, we had a student come in who was on fire for proving all of this wrong. Yes. I mean, he had science knowledge and he was just really laying it out there. And it was one of those things where through the conversation, we really understood that he, in his mind, feels like he is smarter than God. Like if he was in that position of God, the creator of everything, this is how he would do it. So his knowledge, his understanding was better than God's. And that's a tough position to be in. And then reading through this, it's like, you have to understand that some questions that you have cannot be answered or explained away or figured out. You have to trust that God, once again, God is God. Like there's things that we're never going to understand because we cannot understand it. We don't have that knowledge, and it might not make sense to us, but we have to understand that God is God, and there is a reasoning behind it, and there is something that it's happening, and we just have to understand that it's happening for a reason. And we cannot, as much as we want to, as smart as we are, that's why I'm glad I'm not very smart, because then I don't have to worry about that. But
You don't have to try it and disprove all the scientific facts.
I don't understand all that science stuff, so I can just put faith in it. But that's what you have to do. And Job's sitting here, and Job has been through his friends have been piling on, disease, loss, all this stuff, and then God comes in, and what does God do? God, Job is in it, and it's like, I am so glad it ends the way it does, because Job has had some stuff happen.
I did put in here, I put this as coolest line ever. God says to Job, brace yourself like a man, because I have some questions for you, and you must answer them. And I was like, that just sounds like a line from a movie. Yeah. Brace yourself like a man.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Quit crying.
But to bring this back to Jesus, because that's cool.
That's always cool.
I did also write down, it's this concept of faith. Like, God is telling them, hey, you don't have all the answers. There is some level of faith that is required. And even when you think about John 3:16, first, tons of people know, and it says, whoever believes in him, believes in Jesus, will have eternal life. He doesn't say whoever knows. He doesn't say whoever understands, or, he says believes. And belief comes up so much in the ministry of Jesus.
Well,
like, if you believe, because it really does come down to, we don't have all the answers. Yeah. We can't get all the answers. Faith is the ultimate
and
point that you have to land
on.
We're
reading, and we're in this world now where there isn't Jesus at this point. Like, Job didn't have, oh yeah, but remember what Jesus did for me, so I can get through. Like, he doesn't have that side of it. And if you look at Jesus's ministry, he didn't call the disciples and say, okay, here's all the training material. Here's your 4 years of schooling that I need you to take. Here's everything I need you to learn. And then come find me. I'm going to be preaching here. It was a simple command of follow me. Mm-hmm. Come and see what I'm doing. Yeah. Follow me, and we'll figure it out. Like, I know what you're doing. I know what you've done. I get it. I know what you're going to do in the future. Don't cut somebody's ear off, but that would be great. Or please don't betray me. That would be awesome.
Spoilers.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
You'll forget about it. Listen, we're
by the
3
time
books
we
in.
get there,
we'll
it's
get
going to
there.
be months.
And if you don't know that, come see me. We'll talk about it.
Yeah, we'll talk about it.
But I just think that's great that, and at the end here, and I put it in my notes, what's awesome about it is, when it's all said and done, when God asks, when Job mans up and takes his questioning, it's Job humbles himself and he repents and he gets it. He's like, wow, yeah, you're right. I shouldn't have questioned this. I shouldn't have thought I was smarter than you. I shouldn't have tried to, I get it. And then when he humbles himself, he repents, then good things happen.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is great, is that he takes that time and he really, before God, says, yeah, I screwed up. Okay, I get it now.
And how forward thinking. It says he included his daughters in his will. I thought that was an interesting footnote in there.
What?
Yeah, did you not read that at the end of Job? And I was like, what?
What?
I was very impressed.
Women can't have possessions.
Wow.
Stop it. what
well,
are they going to do with those?
A lot of people didn't think that at the time.
I guess their husband will probably get it. That's great.
Yeah.
I
did put, for science segment, there was so much science. Holy moly. Like, before this, I was stretching a little bit. There was so much. I mean, we went into meteorology. We went into laws of the universe. We went into, I was looking up all the random not the random animals, but like the behemoth and the leviathan and stuff like that, and like what people think they are. Like one of them might be a hippo, one might be a crocodile, one might be like a sea creature.
A hippo, crocodile, sea creature. Could you
They're
imagine?
not all one animal.
But could you imagine if they were?
Hippodile
Oh, a hippodile of the sea.
of the sea. Hippodile of
Just
the
a
sea.
hippo, like that big mouth, but like long. Like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Oh,
that'd be fancy.
man.
What is that, like a blue whale? No.
The size of a blue whale.
size
A
of a
hippo,
blue-
crocodile.
the size of a blue whale.
Like, how did that not survive?
Science people. How did that not survive?
That's a killing machine.
It was too funny. Oh, and then also
Like
I
with
did
four
put in.
little legs. Like the size of a blue whale, but 4 legs so it can
Yeah.
come up on land.
It would be great.
Science.
My other two are in Exodus. Do you have anything else to say about
You've
Job?
You've derailed me with the
Yeah, sorry.
hippo
The
crocodile,
the
the
hippodile,
size of a blue whale.
which is definitely a real creature. Okay, so that's Job. I think
That's
we
Job.
wrapped that up nicely.
You know what? Do we need to have any more back and forth conversations? No, I
We'll
think
monologue about this later.
Yeah. Do you think we had enough monologues for?
I just
one
really
podcast?
enjoyed Elihu. He was just great.
I'm telling you,
That's
he
how
was,
I want to summarize Job.
Yeah.
Elihu was great.
he was a breath of fresh air.
Like, I just liked him at the end. I was like, this guy's hilarious. He said so many funny things.
And I don't even know if we're pronouncing his name right. I think
Probably
so.
not.
It sounds
I don't-
really nice.
It sounds nice.
He sounds like an Elihu.
I would name a child that, and then
Yeah.
I'd be like, be careful what you say
Yeah.
to your elders. Okay.
And maybe speak up like 4 chapters earlier.
Exodus.
and we wouldn't
Yeah,
have
yeah.
that many.
Exodus. Eric, you want to tell us
Exodus.
about Exodus?
Oh, Exodus. What does Exodus mean?
Exit.
Oh, yes. To
Nobody
go
saw
out
that coming.
or depart. Yeah, didn't see that coming. How'd you figure that out? Written by?
Moses.
Yeah, look at you.
Wow, I am
Look
so
at
on
that.
top of
First
this.
5 books of the Bible. When was it written? Oh, because I didn't put the books of the Bible. I wanted
I'm going to guess 4th century.
15th century BC.
Wow, I wasn't even
15th.
close. What was it? Negative 4,000?
Hey, carry the 3 times 5.
Okay,
negative
okay,
4,000.
okay, we
Know
get
your
it.
formula. Awesome. And I think the overall theme is this redemption of the people, kind of moving it in that direction. So I'm pretty excited about
There's a
this
lot
one.
of traveling in Exodus.
A lot of travel. Get your walking shoes on.
It was they are exiting a place to go to a different place.
And
I
then
mean,
they
I feel like
wander-
that's how I would
and then
summarize.
they wander
And then
around.
yeah.
Yeah,
Not
put-
too many spoilers, but yes.
Put your Crocs in active mode. We're going on a walk.
Summarize. So we're gonna do Exodus recap.
Yes.
There's some Chronicles in there randomly. It's just
Yeah.
3 verses of lineage.
Getting
but
the Chronicles out of the way.
yeah, that's good. That's good, people. So Exodus 1 through Exodus 12. A really bad Pharaoh, that Hebrew prince Moses. God's about to move. Convincing methods, misplaced blame, lineage, miracles and magic, too many creatures, too much nature, too much darkness, death, Exodus.
Wow.
You see, I brought it around. I
You
used
did.
the Exodus
You did.
for the end because they were exiting at the end.
I like
I just
what cracked me up about this is, and it was kind of in your summary,
Yeah.
is it's like, oh, we're in it now. Like, this is great. Lineage.
Lineage,
It's like,
yeah,
that's
it just
I'm
pops up
looking
right
at-
in the middle
I know.
of like this epic story,
Yeah.
and then you're like, and then it's like, wait, let's do it. Take a pause break and talk about all these people's children and their
Yeah,
children.
I just like, and once again, for all the people that are like, oh, you know, it means, yeah, I get it. It totally means something. And yes, you should pay attention, and it's in there for a reason.
Yes.
But come on, like, can't we have like put all of this in the back of the book, as in just
So
see,
I
reference this?
did write down a verse from Exodus 6.
There you go.
And it says this, because talking about lineage, it says, it's talking about all the people and the descendants and the children that lists Aaron and Moses.
Yeah.
And then it takes a break and it says, the Aaron and Moses named in this list are the same ones to whom the Lord said, lead the people of Israel out of the land of Egypt like an army. It was Moses and Aaron who spoke to Pharaoh, the king of Egypt, about leading the people of Israel out of Egypt. And I was like, it like put in a footnote about like why lineage is important.
Yeah.
Like that's how I felt when I read it. Like, okay, I just told you all these names. These people are the ones who did this. Like, we didn't just read 6 chapters of that, but
Like the Bible
It was just
knew that you were
interesting
going to be aggravated and bored by
about
this.
lineage. And so I
They're
was like,
listen,
this is why you're reading it.
this is
Because
why you
these
need to
people
keep
are
doing it.
important. You just don't know it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no. It was good. So, to summarize what happens, Joseph, who we had talked about before, he's dead. All of his brothers are dead. Talks about a whole generation dying.
Yeah, and he was kind of a big deal, and he did a lot, and it's just like, and they forgot about him.
Yeah. And I did think too, I was like, what is it with the Egyptians of forgetting about Joseph? Because like the cupbearer like totally forgot to talk to Pharaoh about him. And then the next Pharaoh comes and he totally forgot that Joseph even existed.
Yeah, like historical records,
It's
please.
only been like a couple hundred years, like 2 generations. What were you thinking?
Yeah, but no.
And this guy is
Joseph
a
who?
really bad Pharaoh. Holy man.
He's not
like,
a-
I was like, holy man, which
Holy
is of
man.
course
Jesus.
Jesus.
Holy man.
But he was like, I don't know why. I mean, I've certainly read this story, but when I was reading it, I like read it as like how brutal this Pharaoh is. He just is the meanest person. He's so mean.
Yeah, and
He makes Elihu look like a baby lamb. A lamb is a baby.
a baby.
A baby, like a really tiny lamb, just born.
Like a baby puppy.
Yes, like a baby puppy. This guy is really mean. He is
Yeah.
mean.
And it's just like, yeah, these people seem like they're, and I don't even know if he thought they had power or influence. He's just like, this is getting out of control.
Yeah,
Let's
like, there's
like,
too many of them.
Yeah.
Let's enslave them. Let's start killing them off. And I was like, what?
But then he's like, yeah, because that's the whole thing. He's like, let's enslave them. Let's do this. And then he's like, wow, they're getting pretty strong. And they're, well, yeah, you're working. Like,
Yeah.
okay, well, you know what? Let's just kill off their kids. Like,
Yeah.
let's just kill off let's just do this. Like, this is not working.
I just feel like he's on a power trip. Like
You think?
everything he does, I feel like is to prove that he's like the boss.
And this isn't a spoiler because we're in it, but he does all this before the Bible tells us that God hardened his heart. Like, this is pre-God hardening his heart, because
Yes,
it says when Moses
that's very
was
true.
talking to him.
He was really bad.
so, like,
All on his own.
Yeah, like
Just
on
like-
his own. This was him with an open heart and an open mind to the situation. And then God comes in and hardens his heart even more.
He was not a nice man.
No, so
So then, anyways, he's trying to kill off all the Hebrews. And then a mother, which I did put, what were you thinking?
what?
She is like, you know what? I want to save my babies, so I'm going to put them in a basket and just float them down the river and have my daughter watch the basket. And I thought, I understand preserving the life of your baby, but this seems like a strange way to go about it. Like, was this
What?
a Holy Spirit-led moment?
Well, it's got, I mean,
I'm trying to picture, like, I need to save my baby. Put him in a basket in a river with hippodials.
okay,
Crocodiles.
but what
You get that
is-
reference?
Listen, these are different times.
Oh, sorry.
Different times.
Yeah, you're right.
And an animal that big probably could not survive
You're
in such a
in
small
the Nile, in the
Yeah,
Nile River. Especially when it turned to blood.
Yeah. But anyway, but what else? So 2 things in your thinking.
I don't
Number
know.
1, what other like floating basket is pretty much the height of technology at this point in life.
Technology.
Like, it wasn't-
There's not like a drone. You could just like
like-
put them in and just fly them out
like,
into
shipping
the.
it Amazon Prime isn't an option, or
I know.
like getting in the car and speeding away.
I guess I just think, where did she think it was going? Like the basket.
But so it brings me to my second point.
Oh yes,
I
feel
think-
free. I was a little lost.
I think there is a Holy Spirit, like a trust moment where it's like, okay,
It had to be.
If I keep this kid, death.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an option. Or, you know what? I'm gonna put my trust that if I send it down the river,
Yeah.
it's something better is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Death is this option. Death might be on the table for this option, but there is other things that could happen here.
He could get eaten by a crocodile, or not.
Or not. And
Or
man,
he could get picked up by a princess. I was like, this
And
is like
become
the
very powerful.
standard, like, this is like the standard plot of a fantasy novel.
Yeah.
Like,
And maybe if we're writing this movie, we basket, go lead your people. Like he's sending him out.
Sending
Like,
him
you're
out.
gonna do great things.
oh my
Maybe,
gosh.
maybe that's what it was. Like, be a leader,
Is that what you would do?
baby Moses.
Go, Legion
And
people.
once again, because of the hype of The Mandalorian, I just see Baby Yoda floating in a basket. That's how I see Moses doing this, just sitting and floating down the river. Yeah.
Oh, man.
But that's all I picture. But yeah, I
Okay.
just think I think that's one of the things is, okay, I can keep this kid
Yeah.
death, or I can
send him down
float
a river.
it. Float my baby. Sometimes you just got to float your baby. Yeah.
Okay.
And then-
So
So that's that.
let's speed this up a little. Okay. So then Moses gets picked up by a princess, becomes a prince, I'm guessing. And then he goes out, he kills a rando Egyptian. His own people rat him out. He then has to flee the
He's
country.
taking off.
Flees the country.
Yeah, getting out.
Gets married to some random desert person.
Wow. Wow.
And then I'm leaving out a lot of details
Yeah,
because
you
I'm trying
are.
to speed through this.
Man, I guess that name wasn't important. We can go into lineage
Zipporah.
for days, but
Yeah.
Zipporah.
Yeah, and
Once
then
again,
God
Anna's-
shows up to him in a burning bush, which, by the way, spontaneous combustion, people, right there.
Science.
It's biblical. Science.
Science.
It's another science segment.
I just love that you so don't value women that the one woman character that we come
I
up
brought
with.
up leaving women
Yeah.
in the will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I
then
don't think you can
promptly
hold
be
this
like,
against
oh,
me.
wait, we're in Exodus, so women, doesn't matter. Well, whatever.
Doesn't
I think she
enter
was
into
important.
it. Moving on.
It's fine.
Oh, and then I did put, this is the crazy part. So, number one, Moses does not want to lead the people. My favorite line was, pick anybody else.
Yeah, anybody. Like, he didn't even have anybody in mind. He's like,
And
just
he
not
keep-
me.
Yeah, and he keeps bringing it up, like, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. He must have said it 6 times. Like, don't make me
Yep.
do it.
Well, it
I
was,
have no ability.
I think it was
It's not
great.
gonna
He's
work.
like, he wanted God to come up with the answer first. Like, he's like, I can't. I don't have, you know what? I'm not cut out for this. No, I can't do this.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, he's like, well, God's not getting it. All right,
And
pick
he
anybody else.
second-guessed everything. Like, even when God was like, go tell him, he gives Moses his name. Nobody has had God's name up to this point. I'm like, at that point,
Mm-hmm.
I'd be like, wow, this is amazing. God just told me his name.
Yeah, like you put him in your contacts. Like,
Yeah,
he's
like,
like he threw it.
He is
he's-
legitimate.
Yeah.
And then Moses is like, yeah, that's probably not going to work. Give me
You know,
something else. And
know
so
what?
God gives a miracle. And then he's like, I don't know if that's going to work. You turn
Yeah.
a stick into a snake and you don't think that's going to convince people?
Yeah.
So he's like, all right, I'll give you another one.
Yeah.
It's just
I don't
like,
know.
I don't know. It was crazy. So anyways, so then Moses and his brother Aaron, who becomes his speech person,
Darn right.
go to Egypt. They start trying to get Pharaoh to let their people go. Doesn't really go well. God hardens Pharaoh's heart. There's a bunch of plagues.
Well, I think you kind of gloss over it, but what's kind of funny is Moses and Aaron are there to do one thing: get the people out of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And right here, it says those people are not happy with Moses and Aaron.
They're
Like,
very angry.
Yeah.
They're like, how dare you come in and try and free us?
Yeah, like
You
we
jerks.
had it bad. You're making it worse. Like,
Yeah.
this is not. Yeah. So not only that, but like, at what point? Because we already saw that Moses doesn't want to do this.
Yes.
And then at what point do you be told no by the Pharaoh? And then the people you're being ready to free, you're like, they don't like me. Like,
Yeah.
I've already ran once, found a nice woman. Why am I still sitting here?
Her name was
But yeah.
Zipporah, by the way.
It was.
The desert
was.
woman.
But yeah.
By the
and-
way, if you are like into reading exciting storylines and books, just read the Bible. There are all sorts of twists and turns in this.
Oh yeah. So
This is more exciting than a standard book.
and I don't even know if you wrote it down, so you might not have this, but I think it's in
Sure, I wrote it
chapter 7.
Uh-huh.
Does Aaron get his own snake staff? I think I want to pull
Oh,
it up
I don't know if
because
I wrote that
because I
down.
think it says that in 7. Because it says, Aaron, you'll be a prophet. Everything I command to you and your brother Aaron is to tell Pharaoh to tell the Israelites to go out of his country, but I will harden Pharaoh's heart.
Oh, it does say they threw down their
And then-
staves. Oh, those are the magicians. I'm sorry, continue.
Well, that's what, and then Moses and Aaron did just that. Moses was, Aaron spoke through Aaron 83 when they spoke to Pharaoh. When Pharaoh says, perform a miracle, then say to Aaron, take your staff and throw it before Pharaoh and it will become a snake. Moses didn't say, hey, here's my staff. take it. So did Aaron get us? Like, that's pretty cool. Like, Aaron,
Yeah.
I need you to be the mouthpiece. It's
very
He's
fancy.
like, well, what do I get out of it? He's like,
get a
I got a
snake
snake staff. Do you want a snake staff? I can get you one.
Yeah. That's
So,
pretty fancy.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool because Moses gets, I think if people are just looking at the Exodus story, looking at this, they're like, Moses, Moses, Moses. And they're like, oh yeah, Aaron spoke for once in a while. Aaron kind of did some things.
He did.
Like, he's kind of a big, he got a snake staff. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is a side note. So getting into the plagues.
Yep.
So getting into the plagues, there's this actually a moment in Job where God says, have you visited the storehouses of the snow or seen the storehouses of hail? I have reserved them as weapons for the time of trouble, for the day of battle and war. And then in Exodus, right as you read that, it says he brings a giant hailstorm, and it says, so tomorrow, this time I will send a hailstorm more devastating than all in all the history of Egypt. And I was like, that's exactly what God was talking about in Job. And then he did it. So the Bible connects to itself.
So you're saying, no, stop
Yeah,
it.
I know, it's crazy.
Oh man,
It's great.
Don't tell anybody about this. They might
all
start
right.
believing this.
My plague highlights. Greatest threat ever. Frogs will jump on you, your people, and all your officials.
Oh, creep me out. That would creep me out. I mean, I'm not scared of frogs, but I'm like, ugh,
And it is this plague. This is the first time Pharaoh's like, take it away. The frogs, people. They're terrifying.
bleh.
Yeah.
Just bleh.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that in my life.
And then the gnats are the first plague that the magicians cannot duplicate because apparently tiny insects are outside of their ability.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we weren't programmed for this. We weren't trained for this.
Exactly. So, yeah. So, anyways, we kind of end with a bunch of plagues happen.
Yeah.
Basically, Pharaoh's people are like, please get them out of here. We don't want the Israelites near us. We will die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He asked you a while ago.
Yeah.
Can we just?
At one point, his own people are like, Pharaoh, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, we need to get rid of these Israelites.
Frogs? Come on.
Yeah.
Come on. We don't need this.
We should have stopped this at the frogs.
Are building these pyramids really that important? Like,
Exactly.
Is building this stuff really that important?
Yeah.
Can we just get by with what we got?
I mean, nobody cares about the pyramids of Giza. Nobody. People don't look at them. They don't talk about them.
what?
Or what is that lion-faced shaped Egyptian thing?
Yeah.
The Sphinx.
Sphinx.
The Sphinx,
Sphinx.
which is great to say. Okay.
All right. I think it's good.
Any closing comments?
No, I just think I think the whole thing led up to, yes, God is powerful. God is God. Understanding that we don't understand a lot of what's happening, and God is God. So if he shows up and you can really, maybe it's not audible, but maybe you feel this pull to go do something, go do it. Go do it. He is God and he is powerful and he will be with you. He says it right there to Moses. He says, I will be with you. Like, you got this.
So if you find yourself saying anybody else,
Yeah.
maybe reconsider.
Yeah. If it gets to that point, if you're like, no, I don't think so.
Uh,
And then that thing pops up again. You're like, no, I can't do that. And then it pops up again. And you're like, anybody at all. Anybody at all. And then it pops up. Just go for it.
Just don't wait that long.
Yeah. And if you encounter a burning bush, take your sandals off.
Yeah. I did write that down.
Take your sandals off.
Shoes are not appropriate for holy ground, people.
No. So if you're walking
Barefoot.
into somewhere, go barefoot.
So next steps then really I feel like come down to is God calling you to something that you're like anybody else? And then I also think if you're still in that stage of thinking about, Job and that critiquing the justice of God, think about what God said. Do we have all the answers? And if we don't have all the answers, do we really understand what's going on and what justice is? So think about that. Next steps, read your next week of the Bible. Catch up if you can. And we are so excited. Oh, actually, no. Eric is so excited to talk to
Yeah.
you next week.
Somebody's going on vacation.
It's
not
true.
me. It's not me. So I am compiling a panel of special guests.
Special guest.
We don't know where
So
this is
if
going
you
to
want
go.
to submit to that,
But all I know is Anna's not going to be here.
so anything,
could happen. Live band.
I'm very concerned.
Yeah. Fire juggling.
Ooh.
I don't
Not
know.
around the equipment.
I don't know.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
So-
Maybe we'll reenact. Maybe I'll just bring in frogs and gnats and
Ooh, just like
blood, and we'll just reenact.
No,
What's
I don't want to.
happening.
I'm going to be glad I'm going to be gone for that week.
Could be fun.
So, Eric, we'll see you next week.
Darn right.
Thanks for listening to What Now with Anna and Eric. I am Anna,
I'm Eric.
and we are excited to talk to you. Darn it, I'm not going to be here. And I'm excited
Yes.
to talk to you in 2 weeks on What
Yes.
Now with Anna and Eric.